Hi, my name is Suvajit Basu. I'm the CIO of Goya Foods, and I'm honored to talk to you about our cybersecurity journey and the transformation we have gone around. As you know, the words digital transformation and cybersecurity are key words, key projects when it comes to today's IT environment. Who is Goya Foods? If you don't know us, we were established here in New York City, 86 years in business, primarily East Coast bound, but we also have 26 other operations across the US, Europe, and the Caribbean. We are primarily wholesale distributors of products, of food products, delicious food products, and we also manufacture about 40% of our items. As a company, we focus on authenticity, quality, and safety for all our products, our people, and our customers. And if you want me to talk about safety, I can do a whole different presentation for over an hour, but that's not the topic today. So, coming to some of the challenges we faced in 2021, 2022 with regards to IT. Of course, with the pandemic, etc., we faced some extraordinary challenges with our people, with our products, and keeping operations going 24/7. But to just tell you a little bit, operating 26 locations in a food manufacturing plant is not trivial in the midst of a pandemic. But our people were incredible. They came into work every day. Our mission was to feed the country and keep our grocers' shelves full. And as part of that, all our people, our team everywhere, we feel very proud that we have been able to do that and continue this great journey of high quality products. While we were doing this, on the distribution side, and the two pictures below over here show our two distribution centers. And this was operating in 2 or even 3 shifts at that time. And our manufacturing locations were all working overtime to keep up with the extraordinary demands we had. So it was very, very challenging during this time of pandemic in the last few years. But while we were doing this, we saw high levels of bandwidth utilization because we had a combination of cybersecurity needs and a flat network that made us backhaul the traffic to our headquarters because we operate from a centralized IT model. So we saw that our locations were experiencing very high bandwidth utilization, and our perimeter firewalls and even some of the routers at our satellite locations needed upgrades. So as we saw this, we made that a priority end of last year, to start looking into what are the things we could do, and what are the things we could do in terms of transformation and supporting of the business, because the landscape was changing quite a bit during this time period on the IT infrastructure side. And to understand this, I want to tell you a little bit about some of our technology and business philosophy. Well, our CEO about 7 years ago, actually 8 years ago now, came to me and said, his vision is to double in 8 years what took us 80. Just think about that. This is not a technology company. For a food and beverage company, this is a big deal. But the good news is We actually met this goal in 7 years. So we are a private company, we're a profitable company, and because we are dynamic, we are changing, we are evolving, and that is a very big part of the IT side, because we have to support this growing, challenging, changing IT infrastructure. On the IT side, our vision was to always be very practical oriented. We do not really look for, any incredible pie in the sky kind of projects. We have enough projects on our hand. We focus on which projects based on the business needs and business focus, and we take a very practical approach towards what projects are we going to do, what technology we are going to acquire, and how we are going to implement this technology that we have acquired across our 26 locations. So that is a big part. And then you have to understand that at Goya, we are running 100 plus mission critical applications every day, whether it's supply chain, ERP, planning, optimization, routing, warehouse management. All these applications, all these solutions actually keep the business running like clockwork every day. Our infrastructure today is hybrid cloud. We are in a public multi-cloud environment, but we have a large private infrastructure we are very proud of that we have invested in over many, many years, and that works like clockwork. On the bigger picture side, we have about 600 servers that are running. We have thousands of mobile users, whether it's logistics side with the drivers who are doing the deliveries, keeping an electronic log, or the salespeople who are taking orders from our grocers and our customers, or it's an EDI transaction that's taking place. We also have thousands of desktop users that we're supporting every day. So it's quite a bit of a complex environment. Running it centrally, of course, is a challenge, but it's a good challenge. But what has evolved for us in the last 2 or 3 years is that cybersecurity awareness has been woven into our DNA. And that DNA goes across every project we do. I would say 20 to 30% of our thinking on every project, my own personal thinking around every project, rotates around cybersecurity. This cybersecurity DNA runs through our network infrastructure, our server infrastructure, and also the endpoints, plus all the external systems, the mobile systems that we're dealing with, and the firewalls, et cetera, that's protecting our perimeter. I have given you a sample below of the different incredible technology partners that we use on a daily basis, and I've developed great relationship with every one of them. What I wanted to share with you as part of this challenge that we face is that our cybersecurity threat environment has really become critical. We are under attack like any other company every day. Here are some of the pictures of the dashboards that I asked my cybersecurity group and infrastructure group to share with us. So you can see in April 2022, we were under attack. January, the attack levels went up. And then you saw February, March, it went down. And then April, it started coming up. So I'm in the process of looking at what is really happening during this period. Is it really holiday related? When this activity goes up, what are the different things that are happening that is heightening this threat environment? You can see also, just like any other company, we are being attacked and looked at via social engineering. There is not a single week that passes by when I'm not getting some kind of an email that is trying to breach our social environment, because we, like most other environments, have been engineered. Malware, impersonation, financial scams are quite rampant. Recently in one of our foreign operations, somebody tried to transfer some money, etc. They were not successful because we worked hand in hand with the bank, but this is a real threat that we are experiencing every day. I've given you some real life examples of how many alarms we are getting from our different infrastructure and cybersecurity systems we have, how many investigations we have done in the last 90 days, and what is happening to some of the phishing type emails, etc., that are being sent our way. So you can see, like any other large corporation, mid-sized to large corporation, this is real. This is happening every day. In spite of all the defenses we have to be aware. And our whole cyber awareness program, cybersecurity awareness program, which I haven't reflected here, is another thing that is going on all the time within our company. So as part of this threat environment and this flat network, et cetera, that we talked about, we said we need to upgrade our firewall environment. And we are currently, when we started talking about this a few months ago, we were not a Fortinet customer. We made a choice with Fortinet in the last few months. We looked at all the next-gen firewall vendors and made a choice with Fortinet to guard all our satellite offices and to do separation of the network from the flat network, because we found a few things that were very important to us. The number one thing, you remember, we talked about that we are a very practical technology company. That means ease of use and simplicity is paramount to us. And that is something that was very high on our list. We tested it. We wanted to see how easy it is to use, how easy it is to implement. And we found the GUI interface that Fortinet provides as very simple and powerful. We also saw that they have a particular software called FortiAnalyzer that was very insightful. So we could do our investigations and some proactive monitoring very, very easily with that. And then their custom ASIC environment provided the scalability that we needed within the firewalls that they're providing. For us, split tunnel with control protection was very important, and we could do this with the Fortinet solution. We also kept an eye towards what they're doing with SD-WAN, baking it into their firewall line. We're not a SD-WAN shop today. We're testing it out at a couple of environments, but that is something certainly played into our decision making. Last but not the least, something that was very important, another large vendor couldn't provide us, was the supply chain issues. Today, supply chain is a big thing. We wanted the products in reasonable amount of time, and Fortinet gave us a reasonable lead time, and we were very happy that they could provide this to us. Some of the pleasant surprises that we have now experienced with the products is the ease of implementation. Each site, when we send a box, when we send an engineer, we can get it implemented in a matter of minutes. And this is a very big thing, because it lets us segment the OT environment or the legacy environment or the IoT environment or the IT environment very, very easily by just dropping in these different firewalls to segment out the different areas of the network. We also found that the sales engineers were very knowledgeable, and they were a critical part of our decision making, because they provided us and my team with a lot of engineering help, with a lot of documentation that made us feel comfortable. So don't discount this piece. This was a very important piece for us. So simplicity, insights, and scalability with the sales engineering support from an enterprise team was very, very important. And we made a choice with Fortinet at that time. So in summary, what are the issues that we faced? We talked about that we have a very complex manufacturing and distribution locations. We have mobile and work from home needs. We have thousands of users simultaneously every day working on mobile work from home situations that we have had to support. And we do support a few thousand users today in the mobile environment. We have a distributed enterprise of 26 remote sites between manufacturing and our wholesale distribution warehouses. We were having high bandwidth utilization at these locations, and we needed segmentation for some of our legacy systems and for our manufacturing side. On the cybersecurity side, we wanted to segment out of the flat network, and we wanted to update our hardware. So what did we find? That Fortinet was easy to install and implement, and minimum change was needed to the environment. So there are lots of fancy, segmentation technology that is available, a lot of different firewall technology, cyber technology that is out there. But we wanted to approach this in a very practical crawl, walk, run, with a crawl, walk, run approach. And to get from crawl to walk, we were happy with this choice we made because each site we could get implemented very, very quickly, and we could centrally manage this site. We are happy that we have been able to achieve the network segmentation very, very easily. This work is still continuing. We haven't finished the work yet because getting through 26 sites requires an amount of time. What I hear from my network engineers, they love the Forti Analyzer. I'm going to get some more demo of it in how to get it to work in a very simple way, in a very intelligent way. That's where we're going to focus next as we collect more information and as we analyze more of what we are doing today. Last but not the least, for us, the people and culture at Fortinet was a very important thing. We have developed good relationship with the people at Fortinet. They're serious professionals, just like us, and they're available to us with a phone call away. And that was a very, very important thing for us, along with the supply chain issues of availability within reasonable amount of time. And this is what allows us to continue to evolve, meet the challenges of the business, and move everything forward. I hope this helps you in our journey, sharing this journey. If you have any questions, you want to talk to us about anything, here is my phone number and email. Please feel free to contact me. I'm out of New Jersey, right outside New York, about a 7-minute train ride right outside Midtown Manhattan. And of course, I invite you to try and taste our incredible products. And I made some screenshots of my favorite products for you, the garbanzo beans with the olive oil, the coconut water on the bottom right, the great olive oil from Spain, and then the lovely wafers, the mango wafers, which I love. So hopefully you'll enjoy some of our products, and thank you for the opportunity to share our journey with you. Good evening.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here to talk with you all. I am Dror Kevlin, CISO and DPO of SolarEdge, a leading smart energy manufacturer based in Israel. I came to SolarEdge after 15 years of working in the Israeli Defense Forces elite cybersecurity units. After that, I was the first CISO for Israel's Cybersecurity Authority, where I oversaw a variety of national projects. SolarEdge is a global organization with over 4,000 employees, including partners and third-party users. We have customers in all corners of the world, with our team monitoring nearly 2 million systems in 133 countries. As you can imagine, protecting critical assets and ensuring the highest level of security is a top priority. In 2020, we realized we had a huge challenge on our hands. We needed to step up our security measures without impacting our productivity or business continuity. And it became clear that our existing VPN wasn't the right solution. So I set out on a mission to replace our VPN with a zero trust access solution. I am happy to share that the solution that we chose was easy to deploy and adopt, and more importantly, we started to see the benefits to our security and productivity almost immediately. So, why did we feel such an urgency to replace our VPN with a more secure and efficient solution? As we're all painfully aware, cyber attacks are rising globally and becoming more sophisticated all the time. Two-thirds business leaders feel cybersecurity risks are increasing, and they're not wrong. 63% of organizations were breached at least once in 2021, and almost half of all attacks were caused by internal breaches. And what's the reason for all these attacks? In 95% of cases, human error was a major factor. 95%. So, we knew the risk was rising. At the same time, we knew that our VPN wasn't providing enough security. Perimeter-based network security just isn't a good solution for today's threat landscape. With your permission, I will delve a little into the security disadvantages of the traditional VPNs. VPNs by nature must expose themselves to the internet, so the legitimate user would be able to connect. In layman terms, in order for me to use the VPN, I have to put it out there for everyone to poke. And if it's one thing the last year have shown us, is that even security gateways, such as VPN, may have security vulnerabilities. Quite a few companies were breached due to VPN gateways weaknesses. It's simply out there for everyone. Another disadvantage is that VPN let the user access the entire network and systems. So all hackers need to do is access our VPNs. True, with some hard work, you can restrict it to a small subset of systems, but it can quickly turn your firewall rule set into a jungle of policies, making it hard to maintain and operate. VPN concept is that the user station and identity is trustworthy. Heck, we are done with this naive belief. Just by compromising a user's workstation, an attacker can freely roam our network unhindered. It's nice to have a VPN to meet compliance and cyber insurance demand, but it was clear to us that we needed to rise above simply meeting compliance if we truly wanted to be protected us from advanced threats. Last but not least is the remote access to our manufacturing facilities. By comparison, deploying security controls in a environment is, is much harder. By contrast, risk in production line shutdown is by magnitude larger than corporate network. One way to mitigate that risk is to provide pinpoint monitored access. And along with all of this, we knew that a cyber attack would seriously damage SolarEdge's reputation, productivity, and finance. In short, we simply couldn't afford to wait. So we decided we needed to find a new solution to solve our key challenges. These challenges included, as a global energy company, we were holding a lot of sensitive data and asset, and they were at risk. We just could not trust the VPN to provide enough segregation or separation. We looked for a solution that would enable us to provide just enough access to business need without excessive or redundant exposure. Our customer services and sales team were using our VPN to remotely access our sensitive internal application, and they were struggling with operational issues because our firewall had to keep up with the resources required, which ultimately impacted productivity. Related to the last issue, we were struggling with providing remote access to non-managed devices for our mobile workforce. We tried to help them so they would not have to carry a laptop to places where they only needed one web application, was internal. So as CISO, I had to choose between bad, let them use unmanaged devices, or worse, expose the internal application to the internet. Not much of a choice, right? So, even before COVID forced everyone to work from home, we had thousands of remote users and third parties connecting from the home computer and unmanaged devices. COVID took that risk and multiplied it. The bottom line was our security and productivity was at risk. After identifying the challenges we needed to overcome, the next step was to outline the most important requirement of a new solution. First, access and connections to IT systems and application for internal and remote users had to be secure and smooth, as I'm sure is the same in all of your companies. We needed to work quickly, efficiently, and produce results. We needed a solution that would provide great security, but also seamless user experience. Let me share with you the pain of incorporating a new security tool into an existing organization. It's messy, and the CISO rarely gets any compliment. Second, time is money, as they say. One of the main reasons CISOs find it hard to implement more security is both the amount of work it requires to deploy and maintain a new security control. We needed a solution with easy deployment and simple integration with our existing IT systems and tech stack to keep the adoption process fast, light, and pain-free. Third, staying compliant is always critical. We can't let go of any security features we had, and we usually look for improvements, such as session recording for remote user action, to help us achieve and maintain compliance. We also needed the solution to be able to protect our OT environment. For those of you who hadn't had the pleasure of securing an OT environment, let me emphasize the challenges it creates. In addition to the risk of deploying a security control who might harm the production process, there is a constant need to provide continuous access for third-party vendors in order to support the machines. We were looking for a solution that would fit not just the IT environment, but also would meet all the secure remote access for our OT environment. In short, we looked for a multi-features tool, an important and oftentimes forgotten requirement is simplicity. Is the solution simple to operate? Does it require the security operator to invest a lot of time to learn how to operate it? Finally, SolarEdge had to be in the driver's seat and in full control of user connectivity to apps and resources from just one centralized solution. And again, with the pandemic making mobile and remote user key stakeholders, securing their activity and devices was a serious need. I am happy to share that we chose a solution that was truly easy to deploy and adopt, and most importantly, we instantly experienced the security and productivity benefits after it was implemented. Today, we operate with CYOLO Zero Trust Access solution, and it checked off every box on our list. It meets our mindset and needs, and we were able to hit the ground running. First of all, the speed the solution was implemented was amazing. It took just 10 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. And then we quickly moved on to customizing our user experience with our existing tech stack. We had peace of mind knowing every stakeholder, internal or remote, gained secure access and connectivity instantly. It even provided out-of-the-box and with full transparency to user or developers an encrypted layer for a non-secure web application, putting the S in the HTTPS. Replacing the VPN with CYOLO Zero Trust Access solution gave us end-to-end encryption, With modern authentication like built-in multi-factor token, we were able to provide our user with a single place to authenticate, single sign-on, and we're able to create specific privileged roles for different tasks and access requirements. PAM, we reduced risk by giving users secure access to resources and staying in control of how they use them. Staying compliant and getting through audits was now easy, with the ability to authorize third-party access to our system by a SolarEdge stakeholder. We had an approval workflow and to record the remote user activity on our system. Combined with detailed real-time logs, the security team had full visibility and the ability to intervene in real time whenever we detected some anomaly behavior. Contextual data was at our fingertips to improve forensics and investigation. The solution fully integrated with our Active Directory, so authentication and secure access became simple and seamless. They were all huge game changer to our security and productivity. The impact was visible immediately. I can share that today, the time it requires to raise a business need for remote access to our internal system takes less than 2 minutes. The security team has full control and the ability to provide a secure remote access without any changes in the network infrastructure. So, where do we stand today? We now maintain secure access to over 150 systems for more than 2,000 diverse users. We eliminated our VIP, which is like going off the grid from the perspective of potential hacker. Before Ciolo, an external scan of our perimeter exposed many interfaces, which were a constant risk and worry for us. Before Ciolo, an external scan of our perimeter exposed many interfaces, which were a constant risk and worry for us. Now, an external scan will hardly show any surface to attack, and we haven't removed or denied any business requirements for remote access. As we grow, Ciolo's Zero Trust Access solution can scale up to our needs. It's agile, flexible, and evolves with the current threat landscape. The Ciolo solution is fit to geographic spread by installing an internal gateway in certain data center around the globe, so we implemented secure access and connectivity globally with great user experience at unmatched speed and ease. Admins have complete visibility and control, which they never had before, and our system is more secure, user-friendly, and agile than ever before. The way I see it, Zero Trust has great value and almost endless potential. In my opinion, Zero Trust is the necessary evolution to match the growing threat landscape. The ability to stay hidden from hackers is a game changer, and with the Ciolo architecture, I can make it happen. As I described earlier, to, re to replace published IPs for some internal systems service with the Ciolo way, the service turns invisible to prying eyes. I always try to make the most of each tool I've got. With Ciolo, I managed to provide quick solutions to emerging business needs. For example, we had a legacy system who only got local user and has no Active Directory connection. No, it was out of support. To solve this issue, we placed Ciolo as a gateway to the application, where users sign with their Active Directory credentials. And without their knowledge, we changed the user and password to the local user. With a very small effort, we enabled accountability. I keep finding more and more matches like this, and it's a great thing to know you have somewhat of a Swiss Army knife on your hands. Another major use is using Zero Trust to our internal access. This is an amazingly easy alternative to segmentation between sensitive assets and user. With the internal Zero Trust access, no changes to network architecture is required. Ciolo has the ability to use the same technology and same rule set to enforce Zero Trust policies for the on-prem network and system. And last but not least, Cielo has a great future roadmap, which really resonates with me, with my view of cybersecurity. Thank you all, and I hope to see you next year.
All right, well, today we're going to talk about risk assessment and management for smart city initiatives as well as smart city technology. My name is Luke Urey. I'm a capital improvement program manager here with Austin Transportation Department and with the Smart Mobility Office. Manage and research our deployment of our connected and automated vehicle systems, as well as our open signal timing and data, and as well as a communications manager when it is relating to understanding intersection risk factors and safety. So a little bit about Austin Transportation Department. So we are committed to providing the most safe, efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable roadways, not only as it relates to vehicles, but then bikeways, walkways, transit systems within our communities. Within the full scope of Austin Transportation Department, there are multiple divisions. So as mentioned earlier, I'm with the Smart Mobility Office, and this involves deploying new technologies to move people and goods through our city in faster, safer, more cleaner, and more affordable and more equitable ways. So if you look over to the slide over to the left, there is a smart mobility roadmap, and it lays out our proactive approach to new mobility capabilities. So the roadmap also aligns with Austin Transportation Department's ongoing work with the Austin Strategic Mobility Plan. But if you look over to the image to the right, the US DOT have launched their Smart City Challenge and asked mid-sized cities across America to develop ideas around new integrated, first of its kind transportation systems, and to use the idea around data, around application technology, and for people to be able to move more quickly, more efficiently, and more cheaply through the city. So the city of Austin was actually one of the 7 finalists that were announced during South by Southwest during this Smart Cities Challenge. So by leading efforts, not only statewide, so the city of Austin is also working with our state DOT to assess the security challenges. So Austin Transportation Department did gain motivation of understanding this merged network and this data, as well as we're looking at security with multiple agencies. So as City of Austin moves into integrated smart cities evolution, the corridor management and protecting open signal timing data, all of this access was very important, was very crucial for us to be able to start to assess. So again, due to multiple agencies involved in the data and networking of the security, we've already started to initiate a tech bench as we're looking at transit, transportation, the county, as we're looking at state DOTs, and starting to work together to have this workshop that actually will be initiated this month in June of 2022. But a possible framework for smart cities include workshop discussions. A quick diagram that you can see over to the left is kind of what you would see with US DOT. So looking at field assets, looking at public safety, looking at transit, looking at data infusion appliances. So these are all great examples of what we could essentially be able to look at within this workshop as we start looking at multiple agencies and multiple data and how we can kind of focus on security around these different types of initiatives. So here is kind of when we start talking about our challenges. So, as like most process control networks, traffic management systems are insecure by design. So we are starting to look at street level devices. We're starting to look at our current infrastructure, our hardware. We're starting to look at our traffic management center and how we can kind of pull all this information together. So intelligent devices, though, and autonomous vehicles do further increase the network attack surface and the associated risk with either existing infrastructure or also supporting new infrastructure that needs to support these different type of devices. So in order to ensure a safe and reliable transportation management, cybersecurity must now be integrated into our risk management process. Austin Transportation Department did conduct an in-depth cyber vulnerability assessment of the traffic management technologies. and associated information with these technologies. So looking again at our existing infrastructure when we would have new and emerging technology devices and looking at some of those vulnerabilities. So, whoop, went away. Second, so around cyber and physical vulnerability assessments, to identify both internal and external risks, we performed a cyber and physical vulnerability assessment. So we did this with Mission Secure, as well as looking at this within the full breadth of the City of Austin Transportation Network that you can see on the image to the right. And to the image to the left is actually looking at the platform we use to look at those vulnerability assessments within, of course, our existing network and with the City of Austin Transportation Department. So City of Austin's OT network cyber maturity levels were evaluated as part of the vulnerability assessment. Several security appliances were installed at multiple locations. I mentioned this earlier throughout the city in order to collect and analyze data of the existing infrastructure. So among these devices, we were looking at cellular modems, we were looking at wireless radios, we were looking at DSRC to CV to X, dual active RSUs, we were looking at connected vehicle interfaces, intelligent warning signs, we're looking at LiDAR, we're also looking at camera technology, etc. So a multitude of new emerging technology, as well as our existing infrastructure, as well as how all that relates overall through the traffic management center and integrating in through the network. So here's a sample diagram of the existing traffic signal cabinet structure and network vulnerabilities. So we can kind of see some of the issues again with some of the existing infrastructure around ATMS and how that kind of like then relates into some of those new and emerging technology devices. But the following diagram here kind of illustrates how vulnerabilities can be protected. The evaluation of Austin transportation compliance of existing cybersecurity standards were identified as well as some of those vulnerabilities. So in addition, Mission Secure with City of Austin Transportation Department, detective and proactive technologies were able to detect and serve basically as a platform and a pilot concept for our network hardening. So a lot of times we're focusing again on our network as well as our existing infrastructure, and first kind of phasing that into like how do we look at new and emerging technology devices and how do we kind of focus on some of those vulnerabilities when that may or may not create some vulnerabilities within our network. So as we look at security, traffic management system, as well as intelligent devices, results around this analysis that we did with Mission Secure offered recommendations for resolving and mitigating some of these vulnerabilities. So we were able to build a secure foundation to leverage intelligent devices as well as we move into future IoT technology initiatives. This also leads into protecting vehicle to vehicle, V2V, as well as V2I, vehicle to infrastructure initiatives. Again, integrating security across digital to digital and digital to physical channels through Austin's transportation network. This is a timeline of what we have accomplished and where we are right now. So the assessment of vulnerabilities, the mapping of the network, the closing of the gaps, and the remediation plan, all of that assessment was kind of currently done. We are now working towards segmentation and protection of the network itself. So lessons learned. So to achieve smart city goals, as we started looking at also the smart cities challenge and the initiative, and again, looking at our existing infrastructure and new and emerging technologies, how do we integrate existing and future infrastructure? We need to be proactive in our protection. So by integrating new and emerging technologies into our systems, we are ahead of the curve when we start looking at assessment. However, nevertheless, we still need to work towards planning and securing measures that will protect our infrastructure, whether it's existing, whether it's new and emerging technology devices. But overall, we need to protect our street level devices as well as our traffic signal network management. And all of this information would be very crucial. So we can go back and see where we've assessed, where we're going into the future, and how we're looking at this not only within our municipality kind of network, but how we're looking at this with transportation, with transit, how we're looking at this with county and with state, security measures and ways to be able to protect that with the network and with the infrastructure itself. Thank you.